Every single NBA season, we get an amazing example of the impatience of the NBA. So many players come into this league and they're expected to be all-stars basically day one. Not everybody can be like James Wiseman or Anthony Edwards that can just be amazing in their first couple games in the NBA season. A lot of players are projects and they're drafted like projects, and they take time and they take years to finally become what they're expected to be. But a lot of NBA teams don't realize that and get impatient and trade them before they get to blossom. I think we're seeing an amazing example of that this season with Markel Fultz. Markel Fultz was the first pick in the draft, and then he was traded to the Magic for Jonathan Simmons and picks. And now Jonathan Simmons is overseas and Markel Fultz is looking like he could possibly be the best player on the Magic this season, and is probably the reason they're 3-0 today. That's the issue. Markel Fultz had a lot of struggles in his first couple seasons with the Sixers. He was getting injured all the time, and then his shooting form was completely garbage. I understand these problems, but players need time to develop themselves. He is now in his 4th NBA season, and Markel Fultz is playing with confidence. He's not a good three-point shooter just yet, but now Markel has confidence in his free throws, and over time he's going to get more confidence in his three-point shooting ability. And it's not like he can't shoot right now anyways. He can hit middies, and he's also doing floaters, and on top of that, his slashing ability and finishing at the rim has turned into elite level. On top of that, he's getting fouled and making his free throws on the line. If the 76ers had just been a little more patient and trusted the process that they've been preaching for so long, they would have had an even better team today. This is a prime example of a player that just needed a couple years, but because the league, players, the NBA, media, and also fans of the league all considered him a bust, the Sixers decided to trade him for a couple picks and Jonathan Simmons. And Jonathan Simmons isn't even in the league anymore. And no one is guiltier of doing these things or these sins than the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, before I start, I understand 100% that the Lakers got Anthony Davis out of all of this, and they ended up getting a championship. So the Lakers themselves do not care, but not all teams are lucky as the Lakers and as blessed as the Lakers that people want to play for them. But all these players have been considered bust at one time, and it's fair to talk about them. For example, Brandon Ingram. He was a 2nd pick in the draft, and he was part of the Anthony Davis trade. There is no question there was doubts when he came into the league. We knew he was talented, but the dude was extremely small, and he did not play aggressively just yet. These problems seemed eminent in his first year, but in 2018 he started to show some extreme improvement, and the year after that he did even better. But the Lakers missed the playoffs with LeBron James. I understand that LeBron James was hurt that year, but even when he was healthy, the team was struggling for the most part. And on top of that, Brandon Ingram was still being passive in some of the games and was only shooting 33% from the three-point line and only shot 2 threes a game. There were many, Lakers fans included, that believed that he would never have that dog in him to be a superstar. And literally the next season, in his 4th NBA season, just like Markel Fultz, he thrived on the Pelicans and became an all-star. And he looks even better this season. He might even win Most Improved, shooting much better from the three-point line as well. I know that the Lakers traded him for Anthony Davis, but if there was any kind of possibility that Kuzma could have been traded instead, because I know that was a possibility, they should have taken it. Another player is Lonzo Ball. He was the 2nd pick in the draft. He was also part of the Anthony Davis trade. Lonzo had a solid rookie season, but he started to decline the next season when LeBron joined the team. There could have been a million reasons for that. It may have just been because he and LeBron both needed to handle the ball to be successful, but as a 2nd pick in the draft, the Lakers saw that this was just completely unacceptable. Even now, he's considered a bust by many NBA fans and is ridiculed for his play in the bubble. People forget though that same season he had an extremely couple good months, and he has started this season strong. Adding on to that, he's one of the best perimeter defenders in this league, and he is in his 4th season, and I would not be shocked if he started to have a breakout year this year. Another Lakers player was Deangelo Russell with the 2nd pick. The Lakers traded Deangelo Russell for Brook Lopez in 2017. Both players the Lakers don't have anymore. He was traded for the infamous Nick Young situation, so I understand why, but he was also 20 years old, and he was the team's future. They could have easily told him, hey, Deangelo, don't do that again, and he probably would have listened. If Deangelo Russell at the time was as good as Ja Morant is now, or Zion is now, there is no way they would have ever traded him. Just 2 years later, in his 4th season, Deangelo Russell became an all-star. All because the Lakers didn't think he was worth it. Now he's being passed around, but he's in Minnesota and that seems to be a good place for him, and he is a very good NBA player that the Lakers could have kept. Even another player, Julius Randle, not as extreme, the 7th pick, but the Lakers let Julius Randle walk. And it's not like they couldn't afford him. The Pelicans only offered him $17 million in 2 seasons, and even though he was the 7th pick and he didn't have expectations like that, that's for regular NBA fans. But for the Lakers fans and the Lakers management, they wanted him to be an all-star caliber player. They expect that from their players. And because he wasn't, he was considered a bust. The next season with the Pelicans, he averaged 21 points just a season after. And he's had an amazing start to the season with the New York Knicks. Just outplayed Giannis in their 3rd game of the year. So if the Lakers kept all these players, who knows what could have happened with the team. Another example of this is Victor Oladipo with the 2nd pick, right? Oladipo had 3 solid seasons with the Magic, but the Magic didn't want solid out of their 2nd pick, to be fair. And so they ended up trading him to OKC for Serge Ibaka, who is not on the Magic anymore. He had another decent, but it was only just decent season with OKC, which is why OKC traded him for Paul George, who is not in OKC anymore. And then the Pacers got an all-star in Victor Oladipo, who took LeBron's to 7 games in 2018 and lost by just 4 points. If they had just been a little more patient, they could have an all-star caliber player with Victor Oladipo, who's also having a good season with the Pacers today. And don't even forget about Klay Thompson, who they wanted to trade back in 2014. That was a whole situation. And what about Josh Jackson now? He was the 4th pick in the draft. Everybody considered him a bust. And yet, he was traded to Memphis. Memphis let him walk. And now he's having a really good season with the Pistons so far. And it's looking like he really has taken that next step. So you see that all these players, they start off rough. And after a couple seasons, usually 4 or 5 seasons, they start to hit it off. And it's all because these teams get super impatient. And I think that we need to stop treating players that have a rough 1st or 2nd year badly and start giving them time and respect. And over time, when they grow some confidence and the game starts to slow down, they can truly become almost all-star players, all of them. That's all that I think about this situation. That's it for this video. If there's any topics you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments below. And if you like this channel, give it a sub. And I'll see you guys next time. I have created a brand new channel. It is called Just Pack, and from now on that is going to be my react channel, and I also make IRL content from here on out, and I would love it if you guys checked it out. I'm trying to make that channel grow, so please be an OG. Obviously I want you to sub to this channel, but more than anything I really need the channel to grow as well. So sub to that channel, be a part of the Pack Nation. It's, you know, it's growth, and that's what I'm trying to do.